Greetings everybody, we are in Hannover Messe 2025. I'm here with our guest, Bernd. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
The topic of the day is how AI and IoT work together and revolutionize the industrial applications. Now, before we get into the topic, I'd like to give a little bit of background about Cumulocity. It's a spin-off of a software AG.
That's correct, yes.
Maybe expand a little bit what the story behind it.
Yes, thank you very much again for having me. Really appreciate your time. Yeah, so Cumulocity actually is one of the pioneers of the industrial Internet of Things platform providers. So when we first started, I was one of the co-founders and CEO of Cumulocity in 2012. So we started the company with a bit of a slightly different flavor. We started actually to focus on telco communication companies who actually use our platform, our technology, to co-brand it and offer it together with SIM connectivity. So basically, companies like Deutsche Telekom, they are having actually a product in the market which is called Cloud of Things. The Cloud of Things is a branded version, because it's a white label cloud platform from Cumulocity, a branded version of Cumulocity. But we do not only have Deutsche Telekom, then we actually got quite successful with that go-to-market motion. We won Telstra in Australia, NTT Communications in Japan, KPN in the Netherlands, A1 in Austria, and so forth. And so that was the first segment we started with in 2012. Then actually a few years later, we expanded to the industrial Internet of Things side. So from an IoT play with telcos, we expanded into enterprise play towards the industrial Internet of Things. And here we became quite fast successful with projects we did with Octo Telematics in Italy. That's a telematics, a usage-based insurance type of provider, and many other cases. And actually through that environment, through that activity, we started to partner with a company called Software AG. Software AG is the second biggest software company in Germany, or at least used to be. And they actually liked our go-to-market, our product, and they have been very successful in that OEM partnership, so they finally acquired us from the market. That was in 2017, so quite a few years ago. Now, how it is in today's IT and technology parts, Software AG actually got then acquired by Silver Lake Partners, a private equity house, 2 years ago. Hence, for me personally, I used to be the CTO of Software AG Group. I saw an opportunity to take Cumulocity back, buy it back, basically together with the management team. So we are 5 of us, and we made an attractive proposal to Silver Lake to do a management buyout. So we refounded the company actually, and out of the 5 people, we are 3 with the original founders of Cumulocity. So that's a bit of a history, and we signed the agreement with Silver Lake Partners only in July last year, and we carved out the company, and we are now independent, completely, fully independent since 1st of January this year. So it's still new.
Yes, thank you for the insights there. Now, switching back the conversation to AI and IoT, the term I've seen from your team is AIoT, yet another acronym, is often talked about the next big thing, but companies are still struggling with implementation. What do you see as the biggest misconception industrial leaders have about AIoT, and what should they be thinking instead?
Yeah, I think to me, one of the reasons for doing the management buyout and buying, so to speak, Cumulocity back was actually the AI revolution I saw. I mean, if you remember, we are actually now maybe 2 years in the very high level, or let's say very public knowledge got a lot communicated through the introduction of LLMs. But in reality, we in the IoT business know that machine learning has been there since quite many years, right? Yeah. And I saw a lot of successful machine learning projects over the last years, and see the AI as an innovation which helps us, or which is actually driving additional demand for connectedness. And Cumulocity, with its cloud and edge compute environments, is the perfect platform for helping industrial companies to connect their assets, overcome data silos, and operationalize insights. So we have really this feedback loop with our technology. And the misconception is, to my personal view, is that AI changes everything. That's not happening. In reality, it's just an additional driver, an additional means to automate workflows and optimize your business processes.
Got it. Thank you for that. Now, we've seen IoT transform manufacturing. AI tends to add another layer of complexity. At what point does AIoT go from nice to have to must have in industrial business?
Yeah, I guess let me give you a concrete example where we do a project with a machine maker here in Germany. They have actually very complex failure codes to some extent. When you run the machine as a machine operator, let's say, you see some sort of a failure code which you don't know what it means. You see it on a display, on a HMI, etc. What we do there, a very simple example is, we trained actually a model to translate the failure code with that documentation of the machine maker to make that failure code understandable for the operator who works with the machine, and then actually also attach suggestions how to solve the problem, right? So in that way, AI is like a chat box, a more, let's say, a translator of complex failure codes to a clear instruction with a checklist how to solve the issue, right? If you think that to next level, agentic AI in the machinery floor, on the shop floor, could actually even automate the problem solving initiative, which is sometimes not yet programmed in the machines, right? They show failure codes, but they're not helping you to solve the problem.
Right.
And agentic AI, if you think about it, optimize the workflow and could eventually help you to solve the problem without human being.
Now, how do you address the issue of trust, right? How do you get the operator to trust that it's telling the right thing? Because it generates a lot of suggestions. Any suggestions there?
Well, it's really a project where we have try and test. It's a bit like when we remember the machine learning projects on the field. It's also, you use machine learning also sometimes in situations where you're not 100% sure what's the outcome. You read the data, you train the model, you learn, you read data, train model and learn. It's like an iterative way. And like the example I gave you with the small language model in the shop floor with the agentic AI to automate the failure code. It's not possible for all obviously, if there's a mechanical issue, etc., you cannot do that. But long story short, it takes a lot of time to test it. Testing is the most important part. You basically have to test all the different failure codes and the initiation, so the translation in what is the issue, and also in the proposal how to solve the issue. It takes a lot of time for testing. Yeah. But once you do it for one machine, just to complete that, if you have this machine deployed in 10,000 sites globally, it's of course nicely scalable and improves the usability of your machine fundamentally.
So thanks for the use case for efficiency for the operator. Are there other sort of untapped opportunity that you see for AI in manufacturing that in addition to the efficiencies?
Yeah, of course. I think when I really think about AI, I also talk about machine learning a lot. And as you know, I mean, machine learning helped in many situations. We have, for example, a partnership with Sony, where we use, many people don't know, but Sony Semiconductor is actually the global leading in image sensors, right? And they selected Cumulocity to help them deploy their newest innovation on image sensor, which is an image sensor on one side and a GPU on the other side. They produce it en masse, very cost efficient. And this image sensor then, if you really think it through, it's like a mini tiny edge device, right? You have actually suddenly a compute power at the image sensor, so you can actually reduce for certain use cases the expensive smart camera concept and reduces onto a single sensor with a small processor unit, right? And if you think about that, this is potentially revolutionizing vision AI, because you get into new total cost of ownership, also capex investment required for these type of use cases. So in my world, my view is that AI will be somehow everywhere. It will be like a general purpose technology, as we have seen with many other technologies. And now the question is, how do you deploy them and make them efficient? And a lot of people do not really think about the life cycle. You know that as an experienced person in the IoT area, you need not just to deploy something, but you need to think about the life cycle. How do you deploy? So you need machine learning operations, so ML ops, or then in this vision AI, you need operations to update all the time the different use cases you have on the vision AI, on the image sensors. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Now AIoT relies heavily on data, and industries still face challenges with data silos, with integration. What do you think it needs to change in order to how companies approach data governance to fully leverage AIoT?
Yeah, I think if you, to be perfectly frank, when I'm looking at the data silos and the environments, I sometimes wonder why people haven't sorted it out. It's not rocket science, as you know. It's hard work, it costs money, but it's not rocket science, it's doable. But the business motivation isn't there to some extent. Why would you really do it? Why do we need to overcome the data silos? Why do you need to now think holistically to optimize processes, to run connected process optimizations? Right? And I do believe that AI and the potential of automation AI brings to the shop floor will change that. I do believe, and I see actually people having a different view on the investment to overcome data silos, and that's the key. It's not about the technology. It's about, do you want to overcome data silos? Do you invest into it? Do you see a positive return on investment? And that's the key issue why we haven't overcome it at the moment. The ROI wasn't always there.
Thanks for that. Now, I want to close with a question and looking forward at 2030, so maybe 5 years from now, what will we be talking about, and what seems impossible for IoT today, what do you think is possible in 5 years?
Oh, that's a tough question. That's a tough question, yeah. But I think what we will see is that connectedness will play a massive role, because without connectedness we will not be able to automate in the OT environment. And today, for example, at our trade fair of our booth, I had long discussions with industrial equipment makers who are very concerned and worried about the maintenance and future maintenance of their machinery because of the aging of their employees, right? So there is not a single one who is not saying this is a big concern for us. So in the future, we need to think how to automate that more. We cannot run around, visit all the machines, all the equipment in the operation, the technology side, and not remotely automate. So I'm just wondering sometimes how is it possible that we haven't done firmware software management over the air with all the equipment out there? There's a clear use case, there's a clear business case for that. Still many companies actually ask their maintenance engineers also to do the software management, firmware management. I believe this is not going to happen. It's not sustainable because the knowledge and the people able to do the maintenance is just shrinking, and you need to make that more efficient. And therefore you have to automate much more. So maintenance automation is something I envision a lot. Field service management, completely automated, I envision a lot. Automation in terms of overcoming OT, IT is going to happen. In 5 years from now, we may not anymore have OT, IT as a complete different area of expertise, but really as a converged technology area, however we call it, but it will be seamlessly integrated in enterprises. I do not see how enterprises could survive without overcoming the separation of OT technology and IT. At least in my view, that's something which will fundamentally change.
Mr. Gross, thank you so much for sharing your insights. And if you're out in the audience and have questions, feel free to leverage the hashtag you see on the screen. Or better yet, go see Cumulocity. And what hall are you in, Hannover?
We are in hall 15 at booth 17.
Great. Thank you very much.